In this wide-ranging discussion, Ben Shapiro examines the recent political shifts in Miami's mayoral race, the evolving debate surrounding affordability in America, and the complex dynamics shaping Republican and Democratic strategies ahead of the 2026 and 2028 elections. The conversation also addresses key economic concerns, healthcare debates, tariffs, and emerging issues related to artificial intelligence and government fraud. Alongside these topics, the discussion touches on religious trends among American youth during the Christmas season and recent controversies involving urban governance and corporate takeovers. Miami, long considered a Republican bastion due largely to its significant Cuban-American population with strong anti-communist sentiments, witnessed a striking Democratic victory as Eileen Higgins won the mayoral race. Higgins became the city's first Democratic mayor since 1998, defeating the Trump-backed Republican Emilio Gonzalez despite significant GOP support from figures like Ted Cruz and Governor Ron DeSantis. This upset signals a troubling shift for Republicans and raises concerns about their electoral prospects in 2026 and 2028. The loss especially highlights vulnerabilities within Hispanic voting blocs, as polling suggests that some Hispanics are drifting away from the Republican Party, partly due to controversial ICE policies and social issues. The podcast delves deeply into how affordability has become a dominant theme in political discourse, especially for Democrats. Shapiro highlights that while President Trump dismisses affordability as a Democratic hoax, the reality is more nuanced. Affordability encompasses a broad spectrum, including inflation, energy prices, housing costs, healthcare, and transportation. Polls reveal that many Americans find the cost of basic necessities difficult to manage compared to previous years, particularly since 2019. Even though nominal household incomes have risen by 10 to 15%, they have not kept pace with escalating costs in rent, food, and health insurance. The Biden administration, which oversaw rising inflation and expanded healthcare subsidies, now faces criticism even as Republicans struggle to offer a comprehensive alternative. Healthcare affordability remains a contentious issue, especially around the fate of the Affordable Care Act, ACA subsidies. Democrats have drastically expanded these subsidies, but as they face expiration, Republicans propose legislation to replace them with boosted health savings accounts and promote less comprehensive, cheaper insurance plans. Critics argue these measures are inadequate to cover rising premiums, potentially doubling costs for millions. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer vehemently opposes the Republican plan, labeling it junk insurance, despite it being based on programs initially created by Democrats. This impasse puts Republicans in a difficult political position, particularly in swing states, where voters may blame them for escalating healthcare costs. President Trump's tariff policies, especially regarding steel and agricultural products, come under scrutiny. While Trump claims tariffs strengthen American industry and enrich farmers, the reality is more complicated. Tariffs raise prices on steel and imported goods, often forcing consumers to make trade-offs. Moreover, increased tariffs have harmed farmers by disrupting export markets, with estimated losses exceeding $27 billion from previous trade wars. The economic landscape remains unsettled, compounded by conflicting messaging and mixed public sentiment on protectionist policies. The discussion turns to the booming artificial intelligence sector and its parallels with the late 1990s dot-com bubble. Unlike the dot-com era, today's AI market is dominated by financially stable tech giants such as Microsoft, Google, and Meta, reducing the risk of a catastrophic bust. However, a winnowing of companies and technologies is expected. OpenAI and Google are locked in fierce competition, with OpenAI's CEO recently calling for a code red to focus on core AI capabilities. Despite optimism about AI's long-term benefits, the sector's rapid growth contrasts with broader economic challenges, contributing to a sense of uncertainty among the public. Attention shifts to the Federal Reserve's anticipated decision on interest rates, with markets nearly certain of a 25 basis point cut. The discussion includes the implications of Jerome Powell's pending departure as Fed chair and his likely successor, Kevin Hassett. Hassett emphasizes making decisions based on economic realities, suggesting cautiousness about premature rate cuts if inflation remains elevated. The Fed's future policy direction will profoundly impact economic stability and the trajectory of inflation. Ben Shapiro interviews Senator Joni Ernst and investigative journalist Luke Rosiak about widespread fraud in government programs, focusing on the Small Business Administration's 8A program. Originally designed to aid socially and economically disadvantaged small businesses, the program has become rife with abuse, including cases where minority-owned businesses subcontract work to firms that do not meet the program's criteria. The hearing aims to expose and curb this fraud, with calls to improve auditing and oversight. Ernst has introduced legislation to address these issues amid concerns about the program's constitutional viability and effectiveness. Drawing on recent data and expert commentary, the podcast examines the contradictory religious dynamics among young Americans. While overall religious affiliation among 18 to 24-year-olds declined significantly compared to 2007, a subset of these young people is embracing their faith with increased fervor, showing heightened religious practice and spirituality. This bifurcation suggests a polarized trend. Fewer young people claim religion, but those who do are more devout than previous generations. The Christmas season and the celebration of the Immaculate Conception are discussed in this context, emphasizing the spiritual significance of the holiday and the distinction between Advent preparation and Christmas celebration. Recent Democratic victories in urban centers have brought contentious figures into public office, as seen with Zohran Mamdani in New York. Mamdani has appointed a controversial rapper with a felony record for armed robbery to advise on criminal justice reform, raising eyebrows about judgment and priorities. Additionally, Mamdani's efforts to instruct immigrants on evading ICE enforcement clash with law and order promises, highlighting tensions within democratic governance of major cities where crime and immigration policies remain hotly debated. The escalating corporate drama surrounding Warner Bros. Discovery unfolds as Paramount launches a hostile $779 billion takeover bid in response to Netflix's $72 billion acquisition deal. Paramount's offer includes significant backing from notable financial entities and novel shareholder arrangements to ease regulatory approval. Netflix's CEO remains confident about closing its deal despite the rival bid. President Trump has indicated potential political involvement in the decision, though governmental interference in private mergers raises concerns. The unfolding conflict reflects broader shifts and consolidation trends in the entertainment industry.